It's the Talk Talk Punch podcast edition where we are reviewing the Fallout TV show, and we've got some other stuff to talk about too. So, this is Talk Talk Punch. Thank you so much to both our audio podcast listeners and our YouTube viewers for joining us. I am Brody, joined by Tudong Dylan.
Hey.
And I just realized I didn't have set out for you, Charlie. So let's go with the
I like that
Edward
nickname.
Cullen. Let's go with the Edward Cullen of this vampire coven. Coven?
Oven.
Coven.
I don't understand the reference.
It's
Is
Edward
that- is
from
that-
Twilight.
It's Robert Pattinson, so it's very
Twilight.
cool. He's calling you Batman, basically.
Well, Batman I take as a compliment. I feel like Edward from Twilight might be a bit of an insult.
No. The ladies love Edward.
Isn't he like a 900-year-old vampire who like preys upon the teens?
But he's still a teenager, Charlie. All the ladies.
I'll never
all over the
understand
world,
you kids and your vampires.
All of the world loves him. It's the Team Edward.
Okay.
Yes, Team Ed. That's right.
Charlie, that's normally what I'm going for with these are like the cool one, the attractive one. It's something like
yeah,
that.
I got that.
That's
very thoughtful of you. You of course are the wolf guy who's all jacked up. That's you.
I am pretty hairy.
He's got a point.
So,
And you can hey, that's the extent of my Twilight knowledge. There is wolf guy, vampire guy, and wolf guy. I've never seen the Twilight movies. I guess that is a gap in my cinema knowledge. I will have to rectify that. Should we watch one together?
We can do a live watch along. Yeah, let's do a watch along.
All right.
All
in the works.
5 Twilight movies.
Well, there's
whoa. Don't you mean 6?
Okay. I was in and now I'm back out. 5 of them?
Or 4 of them? No, maybe there's 4
there's
of them.
6 of them. There's
No,
6.
There's 6?
No, one of them. The last movie was cut in 2.
The last one was cut into 2.
Yeah, 6 or no, 4. He said 6. 6 or 4. Either way, clearly we're.
This is our strongest beginning that we've ever had. This is good.
Yeah.
All right.
Really is.
Well, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, we do have a Patreon where you.
There's 5 movies.
It's 5. It is 5.
It's 5
oh
movies.
wow!
Because there's 4 books, and then the last one was cut into 2.
Yeah, we did it.
All right.
Well done, Matt. Well done, everybody.
Let me finish my script. We do have a Patreon where you can get exclusive content about topics that you will not hear about things on this main channel. Maybe we'll talk about Twilight on the Patreon.
Oh yeah,
you can find out more
after dark.
More information about that in the description below. And if you haven't already, we'd love it if you subscribed and hit that notification bell so you can come back here every Wednesday and hang out with us and have some fun as we talk about stuff like Twilight. Not really. I think that might be the first time Twilight has ever come up.
But I'm feeling like, and we'll have a planning meeting later. The top 10 vampire movies of all time.
Oh,
the TTP rankings of vampire films. I think that's gotta happen.
Maybe that'll be our Halloween.
Yeah. All right.
There you go. Sneak peek onto what expect 5 minutes.
Hey, we're planning ahead.
We are planning ahead. But we're also talking about what's happening right now, like Fallout. Fallout just happened, came to Amazon Prime. So we watched the whole thing, and now we're going to talk about it. So let me.
And while Brody's doing this, I think we all kind of came at this with different. So Dylan, you've never played a Fallout game before, is that correct?
Never, ever. That is correct.
And Brody, you've played a bunch of these, right?
I've never played a Fallout. No, this is
really
Fallout and like Skyrim are like 2 giant gaps I have in my gaming. So yeah, I've never played a Fallout game. I'm sort of familiar with like some of the premise and things like that, but it's very.
I'm shocked that I thought for sure I'd be the middle guy because I played 3 and then I played some New Vegas. I thought, I've played some, but not as much as Brody. But wow,
I thought it was gonna be like that too.
I have Fallout 4 on my PS5 upstairs. I've just never played it.
Okay, well, this show made me want to go play again. So maybe we'll play some Fallout Online together.
Ooh, you can play it online.
You can play anything online, Brody.
All right, so I guess I'm coming in with very limited knowledge. Dylan is coming in with like zero knowledge. Charlie's coming in
Zero
with
knowledge.
with the
Expert
most
level
knowledge.
knowledge.
The most knowledge.
So
Well,
so like overall, kind of what were your impressions? Let's kind of give overall impressions and then we can kind of keep go.
Let's
all
hear
right,
yours,
Don,
Charlie.
start us
'Cause you
off. Oh, me? Okay.
me?
Look, I was very sure that I was going to enjoy this. And as soon as it was announced, like anytime you hear a video game adaptation, I feel like, especially as like an older gamer, I've been, we've seen enough of these come across the small screen and the big screen to kind of go, eh. But lately, they've been great. I love The Last of Us. There's been some other, we did a Twisted Metal one that we talked about. There's been some
Yeah,
really good
yeah.
video game adaptations, and you don't need to hear me list or rattle them all off, but it has certainly been a lot more hits than misses recently. And so once I started seeing some previews of this, just the way that it looked, this is like source material that is ripe for mining for content. I love a good apocalyptic story, and I think this is a fun one because it takes place like in an alternate universe almost, like the aesthetics and like time kind of frozen in that like World War II era, even though it's advancing in years, and so we kind of almost get like an alternate Earth and then get to like have an apocalyptic event on this alternate Earth. So it's not
Yeah.
like an alternate apocalyptic event taking place in today's world. So it's kind of an interesting take on it, and that kind of juxtaposition of like the old cheeky, hey, tchotchke 1950s stuff with like the music, and then like the sheer horrors that are in the game. Bernie, I'm not surprised that you haven't played this now that I think about it, because there's a lot of like, you don't like the monster
Scary.
stuff. I think it's not scary, but I think that you have said games that are similar to this are scary. So like Biohazard, stuff like that.
Biohazard was a scary. It's not like
I mean, it's not like Biohazard. It's just similar. Anyway, we don't need to talk about Biohazard, although that would make a great TV show too. Let's make it happen. But I love this. I thought it was great. I'm excited to talk in more depth with you guys, and I'm glad they didn't just do a straight adaptation of like one of the games. I'm glad that they did their own story from it and just kind of tried to capitalize on like the atmosphere and the world building of the games and just kind of did their own thing. I think that's a better way to tell a story that has more legs to continue on. So
sure.
I really liked it. What about you, Dill?
You know what? I actually really liked it too. It had a very interesting aesthetic, like you were talking about, like that alternate universe, the 50s, 60s kind of thing going on there. I thought some of the I don't know, like it's really interesting because like the feel of it is at some points shockingly gritty, and then at some points it's almost surreal fantasy, like, but like in a good, like in a happy kind of way. It was a very interesting take, and the one thing that I thought was interesting, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think I understood. It seems like if you become like a ghoul or like that's like a zombie, like you slowly turn into a zombie if you don't have medicine. Is that right, or am I wrong?
Well, I wouldn't use the term zombie. I think that's an unfriendly term.
They
But
seemed
yes.
very unfriendly as they slowly like.
Hey,
I was like,
we're not
"They're
here to
real
put
zombie like."
these kind of label words on things. Yeah, but yeah, more or less that is accurate.
Is it just any kind of medicine, or is there a very specific medicine that they have to take?
It's Tylenol PM, and it's like in a no. Yeah, they're because it's through the mutated of the like the radiation and that. So the longer they're exposed to the radiated water or just the radiation in the atmosphere, they kind of turn into that. And then there's like a anti-radiation or medicine or whatever that they take.
Oh, that's an
It was like his inhaler.
anti-radiation medicine. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I didn't know what it was. So that's an anti-radiation medicine.
So like to stop them from
Interesting. Turning to
yeah.
actual like.
Maybe I'll look up some real terms so I can not sound like a total idiot if I'm saying that wrong, but more or less, yeah. So it kind of helps fight that. And there's like
Well, they
stuff
just-
that's straight out of the video games, like the shot that she injects herself with in the first episode. There's stuff like that you kind of like those healing, the way that you heal and med packs and things, and A lot of like good Easter eggs from the games and stuff that were there. But Brody, what about you? What'd you think? Did you like it?
So I did. I came at this uh, with very limited knowledge of the game, but I came in very excited because it's Jonathan, and like Jonathan Nolan was coming off of Westworld that I love, and so I was coming in very excited because of that, and I did like it. You guys are going to be like, "Oh, you made that voice thing. You said you
You
like
did
it."
do. It did sound like you were about to not like it.
Yeah,
There
I
were
felt that.
I
Oh, here it comes.
I liked it. I think one thing that I kind of struggled with was that like everybody was, and I was having a hard,
What?
everybody but Lucy was like every person they encountered. I was like, "Oh, they're acting nice. Nope, they're going to be mean." I
What
got
about that? The first guy that she met, who was like, "You could," he's like, "You could stay here, and I'm not gonna live very long. You get this house." Like, he seemed very nice. She even thanked him for being nice.
he drank all of her water.
He gave it to him. What do you expect?
He's
Wow.
dying of thirst out there, and she hands him water. He's gonna drink it. Come on now. He's got
So
to drink the
like
water.
So, like, that was my one thing, was I was like, "Oh, I'm a sucker for happy endings. I'm a sucker for like, oh, let's have
Well,
somebody nice in this post-apocalyptic thing, and maybe not just us, the people inside the vault, her vault. No, not all of them. Like, nobody was really a good guy. There were no like really good guys. Right? Was there anybody that was really a good guy aside from
I
Well,
was
I
Lucy?
really are we doing spoilers or are we starting it off without spoilers?
Oh, let's give a spoiler warning. This is full of spoilers, folks. Probably should have said that in the beginning, but
Al
it's streaming.
McLaughlin, that's true. I thought that I loved him as a dad, and I was just like, she's gonna go and she's gonna rescue him. Something's gonna happen. He's gonna sacrifice himself for her, and I was way off, way off. I was like, oh, Kyle, that's your daughter, man. Come on, that was your wife. That was nuts. That was completely nuts. By the way, the fact that his wife was still there as a zombie, like almost a skeleton at that point. I was just like,
So
that's
I,
just
but like, but I did like it. I enjoyed watching it. It hooked me every single episode. I was like looking forward to watching the next one. I really liked
so
the aesthetics of everything. I really liked the mysteries that were coming from it. Like, I was very interested in flashbacks.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was wondering, like, okay, so how is this all connected? And I wasn't sure if all that came from
yeah.
the game. And so I was like, oh, I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. And so all that, I really enjoyed all that.
Walton Goggins is a phenomenal actor. He is fantastic in this, as he is in just about everything else. And if you want to see something else where he is absolutely badass, is Fat Man with Mel Gibson. Really, really fun movie. These guys haven't seen it yet, but he is great. He's great in that. He's great in this. I have to admit, when I would see him, when I saw him, I felt so bad for Maximus when he was in the suit and he was trying to fight the ghoul, and he just completely lost, like just horribly lost. I like Maximus. I don't know, like I liked him. I thought he's not like a great person, but I still was just like still kind of like this guy.
so all right, so bro, so part of the whole thing here is like the parallels in a lot of ways to like the Western films
Sure.
and how in Cooper when he's younger, he likes the idea of the white hat, the black hat, the very easy to follow good guy, bad guy. And by the
Yeah.
time that he's shooting that last one where he shoots the guy in the head, it starts to become clear that there's no longer going to be this like clear delineation from good guy and bad guy, and that what we're going to have is this complicated, complex world. And so, against the backdrop of all the simplicity of like these things, is like this very gray and kind of world full of people that are neither necessarily good or bad, although some were just straight up evil. But we have like Lucy as kind of like this, she's grown up in this pure kind of uncorrupted environment, and then now thrust into this world full of people that have lived through all these horrors and is now confronted by them. And that's part of like the idea, is that there aren't these like white hat good guys, because how can they be a bunch of these good people in a world that has been ravaged by nuclear war, and where kind of people have been essentially like caused to have to like starve to death and eat other people. I mean, I would argue that the ghoul is a good guy. He's a good guy. And it may not be like a good. He's a good guy. He's trying to.
He could have killed Maximus, and he didn't. It disabled his thing. He showed that one bullet to a certain point of those things kills him, and he didn't do that to Maximus.
He was torturing Lucy.
He was using her as bait to get what he needed to get to his family. Is he like would I hang his poster on a wall and say, "Look, kids, it's the most heroic guy you ever did see"? But no, probably not. But would I hold him up in this wasteland of a place and say, like, as far as like complicated characters go, is his arrow pointing more good or bad? I'd say his arrow's pointing probably more towards the good side. He's a character that you can like and that you can root for. Part of that is just the natural charisma of Walton Goggins.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Watched him in The Shield or Justified or Righteous Gemstones or Major League 3. He's fantastic in everything that he does. The second best Major League movie. I think that he's a good guy, and then you see someone like Maximus who's wrestling with like the role that he's been thrust into, and then trying to be a better person, and that he's never been exposed to some of these other ideas and comforts of life, and trying to become a better human being. And you even see like his squire, who I love. I'll look up the actor's name, but he was in Superstore, but like the little skinny Johnny Pemberton. He's an enjoyable actor. He's great in Superstore. You should watch Superstore. But he's a likable character. I thought there's a lot of like little like likable characters that are even in it for just an episode and then gone. And there's not a lot of this. This is not a bright, happy universe, Brody. I don't know what you're looking for here, man.
I was looking for something happy.
This nuclear wasteland, baby.
I wanted
Come on now.
Somebody to be nice to Lucy. It felt like everybody that she encountered, including Maximus, like ended up betraying her or lying to her and all this stuff. And I was like every time she would meet somebody, I'm like, oh, gonna like be mean to her.
Was never mean to her. He just didn't tell her his name. Maximus. He was never mean to her.
He lied.
So what? He said my name's Titus, and then he's like actually it's Max. Like, oh no, it's a different name, Brody. If you started going by like Steve tomorrow, and you're like, actually, guys, I don't know why I told you my name was Brody all these years. I wouldn't be like the betrayal. His name is different. It's like, okay, I'll call you something else.
But if you were
I would probably betrayal.
I don't know, if you showed up in like this suit of armor and you're like, hey, okay, I'm here to like help enforce the law and stuff like that, but you're actually not, you're just an imposter, I'd be like, why you do that, Charlie?
Well, if you wore a suit of armor and you saved my life in that suit of armor in the pursuit of helping me and helping others, I wouldn't be like, well, but that wasn't technically your suit of armor, so I'm a little bit upset at you.
He still lied to her. Oh, I don't know.
It's a lie. It's a lie. You've never lied to your dear, sweet, beloved, betrothed. I bet you've lied at least once, bro. She doesn't even know. She doesn't even know you have a podcast.
It's true. True. She's gonna find out now. Surprise, sweetie.
I'm texting her right now. She's gonna. This is gonna blow her mind.
It's been almost 5
3
years. Surprised she didn't find out.
He's a good guy. I mean, he gets his head chopped off, but he's a good guy.
Yeah. Okay, I like how people really kind of screw up cyanide pills. Cyanide pills are supposed to be extremely fast. And a lot of the times, like back in like the 80s, you'd see somebody like foaming at the mouth. It's because of cyanide pills. And the reason for it, I found out, is they like take away your oxygen or something like that. They nullify the oxygen in your body and you start frothing because there's no oxygen. He had quite the conversation after he took that cyanide pill. When he said that, I was like, what else does he have to? He's like, I just took a cyanide pill. Goodbye. That should have been basically it. But he had a whole bunch more to say. Now, they should have had some sort of like any other kind of a poison, but that cyanide is supposed to be just
Maybe it was a different kind because it was banana Sounds
Right?
flavored.
Sounds delicious.
Michael Emerson is his name, and they give him a limp and a dog in like everything he does nowadays. So person of interest. He also had a limp and a dog. I don't remember if he had a dog in Lost, but I bet he did, and a limp, most likely.
Most likely.
So
I was very confused. Is he the one who put the rat poison in there and killed like a bunch of people? Because they certainly made it seem like that was him.
No, I think it was Stephanie.
Who's Stephanie?
She was the blonde
with the baby. Eye patch.
The eye patch? Why would she put cyanide or put rat poison in people's food to kill everybody?
Because they killed her husband and poked out one of her eyes.
And then when her brother showed up in her house, she automatically knew. She was like, horrible to hear about that rat poison. So she
you think Lucy's brother's a bad guy, Brody? You think he's a bad guy?
I like him. I liked the people inside some of the people.
So you're saying that it was justified to wipe out the human race with nuclear weapons?
No. I liked her brother
because you like the Vault. You're a Vault guy.
I would be a Vault dad. I would totally be.
Wipe them out. Give me my utopia.
For a couple 100 years, absolutely. I was fascinated by her brother because I was like, this fella is so tiny. Like, he looks like an adult, but he is so tiny. I had to look it up. He's like 4'11". I was like, man, if I was 4'11", boy, that I feel like that's just
your beard would be down to your knees, bro.
It would be.
Yeah, that's true.
But like, man, he must have an easy time getting old because it's like, oh, we need a tiny little man. There you go. He's 4'11". He's probably 100 pounds.
I kept thinking he was a bad guy. Every time like he came on, he had a sinister look and they had sinister music playing. I assumed just he's the one who did it.
No.
I just completely assumed. I completely forgot that the blonde, the one-eyed lady is
Stephanie. Her name's Stephanie. She's got a baby.
Stephanie. She does have a baby.
Hey, don't mess with Brody. Knows all his Vault dwellers intimately.
No, I mean, ultimately, I did like the show. I did like it.
Yeah. I liked it too.
I'm looking
Chris Parnell
forward
as
to
a
season
Cyclops
2.
was really funny.
I'm looking forward to season 2. I don't know when we're.
Can we talk for like? I just want to just before we spiral on into something else. Okay. As long as we're just talking about the characters a little bit, I just thought the whole thing was incredibly well acted, and I am so thankful that Michael Rappaport was killed off like immediately because I cannot stand him. I don't know how he's had such a long career with an inability to act, and all he does is he's just himself in like everything. And it's just like always the same. And his delivery's the same. It's bad. Like I don't understand how he keeps showing up in things. And all of a sudden they pop the knight's head off and it's Michael Rappaport. And I'm like, oh God, he's going to be in this. And I was so irritated. And then it was like, then he died. And it was yes. You know how I feel about Mark Wahlberg. I will watch Mark Wahlberg do Shakespeare before I have to watch Michael Rappaport and stuff.
Wow.
Give me Marky going, your mom over here is, forget about it. For whatever reason, I'm Robert De Niro and Marky Wahlberg. I'm going to come over there with your mom, Shakespeare, and then forget about it. Oh, man. But they had a lot of like little cameos too, like little people popping in and out. It was interesting.
Chris Parnell was the Cyclops.
Yeah. We had the one guy that was the DJ radio station that I'm now.
Fred Armisen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just showed up like random. There.
Yeah. This people popping up was. I meant to look it up. Was Eric Estrada in this?
Yes. Yeah, he was the dad.
He was the dad, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was him.
I thought it was too. That's right. When I saw that, I was like, wait.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that was him. Yeah, good.
I was also very
he's
impressed
still getting somewhere.
that Lucy's hair and makeup looked very good the whole time, and she was wandering through the desert.
Now we're
Well, I
complaining
mean,
about hair and makeup. What do you
I'm
want
not
to? What do you want
complaining
to?
about it. I said it looked nice the whole time.
You're
it's it may have.
complaining.
I mean, it's John McClane's daughter, Lucy McClane.
Not complaining.
Every time I heard Lucy McClane, I could not think. I was just like, no, 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 no. You're thinking, what was her name? Who played Lucy McClane? And she's a really good actress. Mary. No, no, no.
Ella
Well, either
Purnell.
way, huh?
Ella Purnell. Lucy McClane.
You guys
You
didn't.
talking about?
Every time I heard Lucy McClane, all I could think of was Die Hard. Not with a Vengeance, but Die Hard, the one with the Justin Long, because they have a Lucy McClane
Live
who's
Free
the
and Die
daughter,
Hard?
whose daughter. Live Free or Die Hard. Yeah, there it is.
I
Cannot
can
believe I'm
honestly
spacing on
say that I've never thought about Live Free or Die Hard.
every time somebody is like Lucy McClane, I'm like, oh, Lucy McClane. I was like, I think John McClane, and he's like, Maddie, Maddie, Maddie.
But
Okay.
I do think it was kind of fun that there were like all the McClanes that were in the movie really did die hard. I mean, it was not easy to kill Mama
Yeah.
McClane. It was certainly
Oh,
not easy to
wow.
kill Papa Robot. Lucy wasn't about to go die. Even little brother's out there doing his thing. You cannot kill the McClanes. They die hard.
Die Hard.
So,
Charlie, what would you say your favorite
appropriately
part
named.
of this series? Like, what was your favorite part?
So I know that there's, after I finished, I kind of, I have all my thoughts. I kind of read some reviews. I know people kind of were disappointed that it was like slow in parts. I like slow. Am I weird for thinking that I enjoy a slow build?
No.
I I think if the payoff is good, slow is great, and I don't want things to feel rushed. I liked a lot of the build up, and then of course the end was like frantic and it was exciting. I I don't know that there was like a moment where I thought this is like my favorite part, but pretty much anytime Walton was on the screen, it
Yeah.
was like,
Oh, he was so
okay.
good.
I look forward to his appearances. And when he, the whether it was his first gunfight and they're kind of doing some of the slowdowns and stuff, like he's, whipping that pistol around, it was blowing holes in people. That was really cool. When he's, what if that armor still got a little weakness there?
Yeah.
And he,
Yeah.
shoots them, and like he was just like chewing up scenery like there was no tomorrow. And
Yeah.
every time he was on the screen, I was like, but I mean, I really liked, I liked a lot of the like reveals. I felt like they
Yeah.
were satisfying and without over explaining stuff and without like not leaving things to still linger like in question form for future episodes. So I liked the way that it ended. I thought it was satisfying enough to wrap up what we just saw, but also like exciting enough that I can't wait for what comes next. But if you had to pin me down and say no, pick one thing, I'm gonna say the first shootout with Walton on it was because that was our first introduction to the ghoul in
When
the city.
when they're like, he can't
Yeah, in
can't
Philly.
hide by a chicken. I was like, he can't. Oh, hey, okay, all right. Very
Did you guys
interesting.
have like a moment or two that you really loved?
I have to admit, I loved when the ghoul was with his shootout with Maximus in the armor. I just loved seeing him continue. I was like, hey, how is he going to beat him? How's he? I'm like, he's Walter Goggins. He's the ghoul. He can do it. He's got this. And he just was relishing it. I loved seeing that. Uh, the guy who played Maximus, I thought he was really good. Like he
He was
could
good.
go from really like hopeful, and you're just like, yeah, everything's good. He's like, hey, I'm gonna live in this vault, just to completely devastated very, very quickly. There's so many times I'm like, oh, Maximus, I'm so sorry, man.
I thought it was interesting how they kind of like had like they presented him as having like almost like an innocence
Yes,
in a lot of the
yes,
scenes, and like soft spoken and like a this kind of like childlike innocence, and then how you could see like in his eyes like these switches flip and kind of like into like that war mode, and like just someone who's like born into this, that didn't develop a lot of social skills, that didn't develop a lot of like that personal, being able to relate to people on a personal level, didn't have a like a large depth of knowledge of the world, but when it came time to like fight, it was like, okay, now I'm a full grown adult. And I thought, whether how intentional that was, like from the script, or how that actor choices, I just thought that was really neat to see, and you got to see him kind of really dig into that, especially when they were in the vault. But yeah, you could see like his eyes like flip when it was like time to like fight, and just kind of something else take over. I thought the Ella, excuse me, was fantastic. I thought she was really good, and that's a hard role. She had to carry this series. To your point, Brody, she was like the shining star of like the virtue in this, and she had to really carry that. And then to see her kind of maintain that in spite of everyone telling her that she was going to lose that as she was exposed more to the surface, that she still was able to maintain that. That's a hard role for an actress to pull off, and I thought she did a really good job with that role. She was great.
When I realized who was in this, when you guys were like saying we're gonna review it, I didn't watch all of it, but I did see parts of was Army of the Dead, and she was in it as the daughter who gets basically everybody killed. And I was just like, not I wasn't exactly looking forward to it because of that. But I have to admit, with a competent director, yes, that's right. Just needed to be competent because other directors are incompetent completely. They have no idea about directing or story, whatever it is. She did really well in this. You're completely correct. Like she definitely is a very good actress, and she showed it in this. Like the way that you were saying, like she kept her innocence. You know, it was interesting seeing her like just realizing things, just realizing the world that she's in, and then the circumstances that she's just like been like she's in and she's been told, like it's just like heart wrenching, especially when like she found out that was her dad. I'll be honest, I didn't see any of that kind of thing coming. I was just like, that's maybe he'll sacrifice himself. I remember thinking to myself, it's Kyle MacLachlan. He's probably a really good guy. I didn't see Showgirls, and
I don't think he's played a good guy since. I think his last good guy role was Twin Peaks, and ever since then it's been all douchebags. But
gosh,
but I
I
do
was
like him.
not thinking that. Yeah. Oh no, he's really likable. He's shocking. He's so likable. You're just kind of like, oh Kyle. Oh, come on, man. What are you thinking? And I did not expect it. I thought he's gonna like sacrifice himself for his daughter or something, or he's gonna already be dead. I didn't see any of that kind of thing coming. I really like it when that happens. When I'm watching any of these like shows, and if I can predict it, sometimes that's good or bad, but a lot of the times I really enjoy being surprised. And this did a lot of that. Was there any sort of a sequence where you were especially like, this is totally the game right here?
I think as they kept doing flashbacks, I about the video game. I don't know.
Yeah. What game were you talking about?
Just like the overall game. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like the
but this was
overall
the
show.
TV show.
Like the overall show.
Yeah. Charlie, did any part of this act like make you think? I'm sorry, Brod. I should have been very much more specific. Charlie, is there any part where you're watching and you were just like, "Whoa, this is totally the game right here"?
I mean, there's like the game is a first person shooter, so like obviously the storytelling lens is different. But like like from the very beginning, where she checks like she's got the vault tech on her wrist. Like one of the first things you do when you wake up. You're kind of like checking your little thing. And I thought they did a good job of like having like little things like they have the oversized pack that the squires carry like in the game. If you like have too much stuff, like it slows your guy down. So like little nods to the game, like all the way through. The robot with Matt Berry, who's always fantastic. And that guy's got like $1 million voice. You love your Matt Berry. He's your in the shadows guy. What we do in the shadows.
Yeah. That's right.
When she injects the like right away when she injects the stem pack into her wound and like heals it right away, like straight out of the video game. Like that kind of stuff was really cool. Getting to see like the knights and stuff with their guns and like that suit of armor like come to life. That was really cool.
Nice.
Like the games. So there's some just like the aesthetic wastelands. But the thing that got me the most excited from the games was the last shot, where we got Kyle MacLachlan looking over New Vegas, and I'm like, oh, there's New Vegas, New Vegas.
Yeah, I
And
got
that
that
so that was
reference.
so
Why,
that's gonna
what
be
is
like
that?
a really fun
It was one of the
thing coming in the
games.
next one.
Was New Vegas.
Ah, I'm like,
But, like some of the monsters and stuff too were kind of fun to see. Mutated bears and like the skull at the end. You got your references to like various creatures that you fight in the games and that appear in
now,
the,
if you have a
the
suit of
worlds.
armor, could one of those irradiated bears like kill you like it did? I mean, basically killed Michael Rappaport, right?
I mean, it wouldn't kill me because I'm not a Michael Rappaport little. I'd take a bear down. I bear
Yeah.
down for midterms. I tell you that much.
Nice.
Get out of here, Rappaport.
All right.
But hey, there's time.
Yeah.
We gotta play. We should all play collectively New Vegas together. Let's all play New Vegas before season 2 drops.
All right, Dylan,
Who's
we're
with
going to
me?
need you to buy a PS5.
Come on, get on board. Let's go. Hey, he can play on his computer. You don't need a PS5. Just just get on Steam or something.
There you go.
You're good.
Okay.
wa-
I do want to kind of wrap things up. We've been going
Yeah.
for about 5. We do have
All
some
right,
other
all right.
stuff to talk about.
Wrap it up. Wrap it
If
up.
you had to, okay, give it a rating. 1 to 10. Dylan. Season 1 of
I'd say
Fallout.
8. I'd say 8. I'd say 8. Really well written, really well acted, directed, all that stuff. I really enjoyed it. I'd go 8.
Charlie?
I'm dropping a 9 on this thing. This is one of my
Wow.
favorite
Nice.
one of my favorite sci-fi apocalyptic shows I watched in a while. Since Silo. I love Silo.
Cool. Road?
I'm also doing an 8. Yeah, I was right at that 8 too. I was thinking about going higher,
7.
and I was like,
Oh.
and it's like, well, I think an 8.
I know we're wrapping up. Can I just say one thing that I forgot to mention? Just one little
Of
thing.
course.
I was so relieved that there wasn't more of the story told through flashback. It's such a crutch in modern storytelling now with like all of this like slow the story down to kind of go back in time and just gap fill. And it's such like a sloggy storytelling method and it's like everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just it can be really insufferable to slow down the momentum of your narrative by constantly leaping back in time. But I thought they did it tastefully in this. It wasn't overdone, and when it was done, it was very interesting. So I kudos to them for pulling it off a little bit because I was nervous. That was one of the things I was really nervous about the show, that it was going to be like 50-50 of like time jumps, and I was not looking forward to that. Ugh.
Well,
Is
and
there
it
a
was
lot of that in the
nice.
game?
It
Yeah.
was nice with the flashbacks that the flashbacks kind of had its own history that built. So
Does the
I
game
really-
have a lot of flashbacks?
I mean, you
Anybody?
uncover like information as you play, but I mean, I like I said, I've only played one game and then part of a second game, so you get to learn information, but it's not like constantly cutting to video clips of like the
Okay.
past. Like you get audio recordings and things, and
Nice.
you're filling in narrative gaps. But it's a video game, so you kind of it doesn't have that cinematic quality. Like there was
It
no
was
Vault
really
33 in the
interesting.
games, and so this is like a whole new. So
No, I actually meant to ask if that whole Vault 33 is in the game. They didn't have that, huh?
Nope.
Where there's like people who are
they have vaults,
actors.
but like not, and so this is just a different spin on that. So I mean, it's hard to like imagine when they made the first Fallout game that they could foresee how successful just the game would be, like how many Fallout games they would end up making, let alone that someday there'd be this, phenomenal TV show that was made based on that. So, they had kind of a more limited, I think, scope. Where they're like, we have these vaults, and here's the command list of these vaults, and then I was like, oh gosh, wow, there's more vaults, and it works. Like with the lore, it's like, hey, all right, there's more vaults than you realized there were. Great. It's easy.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead, by the way, that's who was Lucy McLean in Live Free or Die Hard. You guys were I know you were really waiting for it. It's okay. You were very patient.
That's what we in the business call a tease. Well done, Dylan.
Meanwhile, all the people watching are like, "It's Mary Elizabeth Winstead."
They stayed tuned to make sure that we got there. They're like, "All right,
I know,
you better
I
close
know.
that.
We did.
Can't leave that plot hole
They
open.
got closure.
We got this. All
Let's see,
right.
no
I
gaping
just want
holes
to
on this channel.
take a little bit of time next, just to chat about like what we're watching, what we've been watching, what we're looking forward to, anything besides Fallout and besides X-Men that we have now both reviewed both of those. Anything you guys are currently watching?
You know, because we did that Golden Girls fan casting, I actually started watching Golden Girls. The wife and we watched that at the end of the day. We're like, yep. And let me tell you, it's really good. I really liked it when I was a kid. I like it even more now. Really well written and acted.
Well, and that's a tease for an upcoming episode because that will not be released this.
Look at Dylan. Dylan with the teasing man.
For a Golden Girls fan cast.
Yeah. Hey, set your watch to it.
Charlie, you watching anything?
Yeah, so we just finished the Three Body Problem on Netflix.
I heard of that.
Heard about
And that was another like sci-fi show. It's going to be told in 3 parts. Interesting. I think I liked it.
Oh,
And
did you read the book?
I did not read the book.
Hmm.
And I guess my hesitancy is not so much. It's really well done. Like for the most part, there's some stuff that you're kind of like, okay, sure, pal. But it's a story that's like very unfinished, and not one that like if the finish is bad, that I'll be like, well, that was worth it anyway. It'll be like if it doesn't finish well, it'll be like, well, that was a huge waste. Um,
Wow.
you know what I mean? Like it's got you got to stick. Sometimes you just really got to stick. You can't like you got to stick the landing. Like Lost did not stick the landing, and so it doesn't matter that for 2 seasons I thought this is my favorite TV show I've ever seen, because now it's like,
wow.
that was a dumb show. I loved it for a couple seasons. I thought this is one of the best things I've ever seen, but now now I look back on it and I'm like, wow, that was dumb. I'm never watching that again.
That was good.
We also watched.
Would I like it?
Look at sci-fi stuff. It's intriguing enough. I think there's parts of it that are like incredibly well done. I think sometimes they abandon some of the more interesting parts a little too quickly for my taste to focus on other parts. But that's just kind of, sometimes you're trying to progress multiple narratives when you have a larger ensemble cast. Inevitably, there's going to be stuff that like feels more important or has more gravity to it for you personally. And then when it kind of goes away from that to other like storylines, it can be a little like, all right, well. But yeah, I think you'd like it. I think it's worth watching. I think especially since it's guaranteed to have a finish. It's not like you have to worry that Netflix is going to pull it before it's done. They've already said it's going to be 3 parts. So part 1 is in the books. We'll see part 2 and part 3. But yeah, if you're interested in sci-fi television with kind of like a moody atmosphere and some suspense to it, then I think it's definitely worth watching to see if it jives with you. Oh, Brody, what we should be talking about though is the show that you love. I watched the episodes.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So that's
And
what
I can't remember it.
That's what I was
I
going to
can't
talk
remember
about.
now.
It's Dark Matter.
Dark Matter, that's what it's called. Speaking of moody sci-fi shows.
Yes. Okay, so I am loving Dark Matter on Apple. I read the book multiple times. Love the book. I really love Blake Crouch, author of all of his books. So to get a really good show based on Dark Matter, super. Now it's like every Wednesday night. Every Wednesday night I'm watching it. And I'm really actually enjoying differences between the book show. Because Blake Crouch is like writing it. It's show. So I was just reading an interview. He's kind of taking things that wishes he would have done in the book to that show. So he's actually looking at this as like a 1.5. Oh, I wish I would have expanded this person's role. I wish I would have spent more time in this area. really. And I think it's only like 8 episodes. And so I have no idea if we're gonna finish the book one season. This may be like a 2-season thing, which I am loving.
I'm so glad that you have read the book and that you love it because this is the exact kind of show that I would have put on and gotten through the first episode and then never gone back to again.
Really?
Oh wow.
It's and it's not because it's bad. It just sets up like so like it's gonna be so generic. And like
Okay.
Huh.
you can see the plot twist coming in episode one like a mile away. It's like telegraphed to here and
Sure.
gone. There's no suspense in it. And it's like, okay, I kind of see what story they're doing here and work guy versus non-work guy. And it's like, oh, all right, we're doing this again. And by the time episode one done, I was like, oh, Brody's gonna make me watch this whole thing. And then you get to that moment at the end of episode two, and you're like, oh dang, this show is gonna be different. And
Yeah.
it starts to twist and spin, and you start to like, okay, all right, I'm glad I stuck with it because now it's really interesting. But it just kind of when you're setting up a show to kind of do that purposely or a story to kind of say, okay, look, here's the conventional way, and now I'm gonna go. There's really no way around starting with that conventional route, and so it can be a turnoff if you're trying this at home. Dark Matter, get through at least 2 full episodes. Don't be like the person on IMDb who is like, I made it through 1.5 episodes. And I'm like, this is like the same stuff. I'm like, just finish episode 2, man. Just finish it.
Well,
You're one
and
and a
then
half
the
episodes
ending,
through.
like things are only gonna get crazier. And there are no spoilers coming from me.
Yeah, I'm excited,
It's
and
great.
so your
It's
your
great.
faith in the show had made me stick with it, and I'm really glad because I did really start to get excited about it.
Yeah, so that's
So
what
good
I've
call,
been
bro.
but Ledger. Tudong, you should check it out. You should get Apple TV and check it out.
Yeah, I actually just
Tudong's
read
not
the
watching no sci-fi. Golden Girls in Space, though. Would you watch that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. What are you talking about sci-fi? I love Firefly that you introduced me to.
That was in 2002. What's the last
Very,
sci-fi TV show you watched?
very true.
Was it Firefly?
No, last sci-fi was
Fallout.
the alien one. With Alan Tudyk.
Oh,
Oh,
Resident
no, Resident
Alien.
Alien. That's a good
Resident
show.
Alien.
That's a good show.
The first season was good.
Oh, you didn't like the second season?
I didn't get through the second season. Oh,
Because you didn't like it,
I
or just because you?
I kind of I stopped liking it. I stopped liking the direction it was going. I was like,
Oh,
why are we not seeing more of Alan Tudyk? I didn't like a lot of some of the characters. I just started to truly
Tudong.
dislike.
Oh, Tudong. You gotta stick with Tudong. In
Ah,
Tudyk we trust.
in Tudyk we trust.
All right.
But
Well, we do also want to get some time in for some mailbag questions because it's always fun to do. Charlie gets some good questions. So move on to
all
that.
right. All right. So we'll close it out here with a question we got from a viewer. Uh, let's see. Let me pull up here so I can credit it properly. This is from at your boy Mikey. It's so it was based on our X-Men 97 review talking about it says, I know you guys like to talk a lot about superheroes, but have you ever thought about which superheroes would be the most fun to live with and or the worst to live with? So your
Oh,
boy Mikey is posing the question to us, which and we'll just for the sake of simplicity, you guys can pick you guys can qualify it however you want in your own mind. It can be any superhero. You can go DC, you can go Marvel, MCU, you can go X-Men. You got to pick a roommate out of a hat. So who's the one name that you would never want to see on that? And then if you could pick any superhero to be the roommate without having to draw it out of a hat, who would it be? So worst and best possible roommates. What are we thinking?
Okay, so for worst, I'm gonna go with Dusa from the Ends because I have
yeah.
this thing about long, loose hair. can't do it. It makes me gag. I have a very serious gag reflex. I am like, I can't do drains, like shower drains. Nope, I don't do it. Sink drains, don't do it. If there's any hair, it's automatically like a violent like. And so
So great.
if I had to live with Medusa and that hair that is like more than her body length was anywhere, I would just like all over the place, and it was absolutely horrible. Especially because she can control her hair. I don't know if she can still control her hair after it falls out. Um,
Oh
but like
wow.
if it was like moving around, oh, even just thinking about it kind of makes me a little bit. So no, Medusa. Nope, 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 nope.
Every
Get
time I
that
clean a
hair.
shower drain, Brody, I think of you. Every time I pull out
Oh,
that wet, limp clump of hair
no,
and I
stop,
start,
please. Stop. No more. No.
all right,
Oh,
uh,
I love you,
we,
bro.
we we won't make you throw up on stream.
thank you.
What about
Thank
you,
you.
Tudong? Who's your worst roommate? Worst roommate?
The worst roommate, I gotta say, although I think he's one of the best X-Men there is, I think Wolverine would be kind of terrible. I'll bet you he doesn't smell very good. He doesn't seem like he showers too much. I mean, if I'm going to get a midnight snack, I don't want to get stabbed accidentally, or if he like he's got like PTSD. He just seems like, and he's got cigars, and he's going to be drinking all the time, and he's got a rotten attitude. You can't have a whole house like that. You got to have somebody who's positive, and which is why if I had to pick somebody, I'm going to go Superman. He seems like he is very courteous, and he also seems like you can guilt him into things. Where it's we just. Did you ever see that on Family Guy? He's like he's roommates with Superman, and he's like, yeah, the Fortress of Solitude. It's like a 5-hour drive for me. Not even 2 seconds for you. Just have to go get some toilet paper. But hey, yeah, that's all right. I'll go and do it. And then Superman just goes. I was like, that's perfect. I'd be like, look, Clark, Kal-El, I could take the time to fold these clothes, but it's not even a second and it's done. Doesn't that sound nice to you? Because that sounds great to me.
He's probably
Hey,
also
let's.
not there that often. He's always
Yeah.
saving the world.
Yeah, that's probably
He's
true.
probably not
Also,
like hanging out at home very much.
which would be another reason why it's good. It's like you're living by yourself. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And then he does get there, and he's like tired, and he's like gotten all sorts of injuries and all these things, and I'm like, gotta get a second coat of paint, Clark.
So
What about you,
I,
Charlie? What
I,
about
think,
you?
I think I think it's a great call, Superman. I was thinking about him. I look like Hulk. Any of the anybody who's like Firestorm, like any of like these they're gonna destroy my
Element.
apartment whenever they switch their powers on. Kind of heroes would probably be off the list. Deadpool would be like probably a terrible roommate. Probably wake up with
Oh,
like a
he'd be
butt on my
horrible.
face like far too often. Um, I think Wolverine's a good call. I don't mind the hair everywhere, but you know, uh,
I wouldn't like
I
to be. Doesn't she turn to stone if you look at her?
No,
That would upset me a lot.
that's like the Greek mythology.
But that's who that was. I mean,
This
that's
is this is
hey, Wanda would probably be a bad roommate.
she's
I
just
don't
a
know.
psychopath. Yeah.
Get trapped in like a time loop or something.
Oh,
Like, I'm sorry I didn't do the dishes, and then like just for like a week you're stuck like at the dishwasher like over and over again on repeat. Um, yeah, like Loki would be a horrible roommate. But man, I tell you, if I got to pick, I might pick an old Iron Man. Getting like because living with Jarvis would be freaking sweet.
yeah. That'd be
Like that would
nice.
be,
Yeah.
having like hey, oh, glad we got Jarvis in this bag. Come on over to my, like a dumpy apartment, but like Jarvis is there. He's like, hello, welcome to the squalor. It'd be a pretty fun, pretty dope apartment. So that I think that he might be
That's true.
my pick for favorite. Brody, you didn't say one that you would want to live with. Would you want to live with
Yeah.
Batman? Would you want to be constantly reminded about dead parents and sad?
no, no.
And
I was trying to think of somebody really rich that I could live with. Well, there's Batman. I don't think I want to live with Batman. Iron Man's actually pretty good. I was thinking about Archangel. He's like my favorite, and he's really rich. But then he turns into Archangel.
You're walking
But
out,
then-
bro. You're walking out to get yourself a glass of milk at night, glass of eggnog, and next thing you know, you're like, you sit up and just
Yeah.
all these like metal wings like shoot right by you, and you're like, are you kidding me? Again?
kidding
But
me?
as far as just like having a roommate to hang out with, I kind of think maybe like Colossus would just be like cool to hang out with. You know, he doesn't have a power that's really gonna like mess with the house too much, you know, unless he somehow like breaks it
Crushes
by
your
turning
sofa.
metal. But
I,
like
I turned metal, I crushed your sofa. Sorry
but
about
like
that.
he's in really good control of his transformation. It's not like he's randomly transformed. Uh he Colossus is also just like a really cool guy. He likes to pretty chill. So
I almost picked the Thing for worst because I could picture myself like running into him all the time, and I'm like, put this rocks right here.
That-
The Colossus-
Invisible girl sneaking
Oh,
around
yeah.
your house. Any of the telepaths reading your mind.
Yeah.
yeah,
no,
right.
no,
No
no.
Xavier. I also
Yeah.
wouldn't mind maybe Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler might be cool to have around.
He seems like a good dude.
like
Maybe
a
that's
good
maybe
dude.
as a follow up question. What about instead of a roommate? What about just sharing a beer, grabbing a beer, and hanging out for a couple hours? Who you picking?
That's a whole nother question. I have to think.
Yeah, but that's a
All right,
good.
well, sorry,
that's a
you
really
were talking about
beer.
Colossus be fun to hang out with. I thought that's where your mind was at.
Colossus would be fun.
Yes, what about Spider Man?
Nightwing.
Grab a beer with Spider
Nightwing
Man,
would be
man.
fun.
I could grab a beer with
Oh,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man would be great. Yeah, Spider-Man would be good. Daredevil. Well,
I thought about Daredevil.
Daredevil from the TV show. Absolutely, he's fantastic.
Trying to like look at my comment.
Yeah, a beer with Punisher would not be a lot of fun. I think that would be
no.
like like having a beer with like the Punisher and Wolverine, just having like a grump off. I'm gonna kill everyone.
Like,
Good
every
idea,
time-
bub.
Every time, I'm like, do we have to kill people every single time, fellas? They're
They're
not
like,
even
hey,
humans."
this is great beer, huh, guys? I'm having a Bud Light, light beer.
Say we just focus on the beer.
Yeah, I don't know who I'd want. Yeah, maybe I'll just
There you go. Stick with your Ruski pal.
yeah.
Gah. I'm surprised you didn't go Hawkeye since you and Jeremy Renner have actually had a beer in real life.
What?
We haven't
You
He
had
just,
a beer with Jeremy Renner?
no, but he lives in my city.
He had a
I've
few
had
beers
fr-
right before Jeremy
I've
Renner
had friends who have
operated
just
a
run into him
snowmobile.
before.
I mean,
Yeah,
He's around.
that's cool.
he's around. Rumor has it he was going to join the podcast for a while, but we'll see. We're gonna get him on one of these days.
Nice. Bro, what'd you see?
I think Brody's just looking at his comics to try to find.
Eh,
Brody
I
wants
am.
to have a
I
beer
am.
with
I'm-
Spawn.
Oh no, I don't think that. I'd have a
With
beer
who?
with Beast. You know what? I'd have a beer with Beast. I think that would
Oh,
be a
Beast?
fun.
Yeah, well, that's
It'll be
good.
fun. Yeah.
So,
Yo, Kelsey Grammer Beast.
I think that.
Jubilee would be fun. The X-Men '97 Jubilee. Hit the club.
Yeah.
Do like a little firework dancing in.
Sure.
Drink a couple of beers. Have a good night.
Firework dance.
Love that. All right then.
Good.
Well,
All right.
Right there you go. There you go, your boy Mikey.
There's our. There you go, Mikey. That's who.
We'll have to. We can do a top 10 list of like best roommates from the MCU. We'll do
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be. Write
That's
that down.
good. That's
You
good.
write that down. All right.
No.
Well, this has been fun. It's a fun podcast, just hanging out. Sometimes we just like to do this. Well, about once a month. We do a podcast. Once a month, we do a lot of list formats. If you have made it this far, clearly you're having fun. So make sure you. Charlie, how about you close us out?
I'll make sure that we close this out. Look, let us know if you watched Fallout, and if you did, what'd you think? Did you like it? What's your rating for it? You can just drop a rating if you want. If you don't want to talk, you can say 7, 6, 10.
8?
And we'd love to hear that. And let us know who would your roommate be? Who would you hate to live with? Oh my goodness. Jean Grey reading your mind all the time, knowing exactly what you think of your roommate at all times, that can be dicey. So let us know in the comments below, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe below that glorious beard. We'll see you next time.